أهلا وسهلا بكم أحبائي ومرحبا في الجزء الثاني من هذا اللقاء مع إخوتنا هنا في الأرجنتين، أخونا صبري والأخ سفر وجمال وسليمان. وقد توقفنا قبل هذا الفاصل في الحديث عن أخبار صبري مع مهران والد جمال وسفر، وكيف أن هذا الرجل الذي لم يكن ظاهرا على دين الإسلام، وأنا أوقن حقيقة أن هذا الرجل من الموحدين، كان فاتحة خير لهؤلاء، بل لا أبالغ إذا قلت أنه من أولياء الله الصالحين. وقد أكرمني الله عز وجل بزيارة قبره، وكنت شغوف بالتعرف على أخباره والذهاب إلى قبره لمعاينة هذا الرجل الذي دعا إلى الله باطنا بإدخال هؤلاء جميعا في الإسلام دون أن نعرفه، دون أن نتعرف عليه، دون أن يكون ظاهر حاله أنه من جملة المسلمين. وكيف أن هذا يعني يثير فينا سؤالا هاما، وهو أننا ينبغي ألا نحكم على الناس. هل نحكم على الناس بمظاهرهم أم أن علينا أن نترك سرائر الناس إلى الله تبارك وتعالى ونكف عن الحديث عنهم؟ الآن أعود لأخونا صبري وسفر وجمال، وأسأل أخونا صبري عن بقية أخباره مع مهران أفندي رحمة الله عليه. So Sabri, you told me that you saw Mehran Effendi in a place where he said, "We have made it."
Yes, we arrived.
We arrived.
Yeah,
and that was after you became a Muslim.
Yes, 2011.
So that was possibly an indication from him that you, Safar, Jamal, and Abdul Wadud, the people whom he was expecting to become Muslims, they have made it.
Yes, I thought so.
That will not mean anything else.
Yes, correct.
What would you what has grabbed you to know Solayman?
We knew each other from the very early childhood. We were classmates and we played in the same.
Was he a naughty child?
Yeah, but I was too.
Okay, so it doesn't make a big difference.
No, we were both naughty, and then we grew parallel schools and playing rugby and whatnot. And then we didn't see each other anymore.
So Solayman came to know Safar in the Dargah, and then one day Safar was going to see you, isn't it?
No. I was living in America, and they were in the car together, and he mentions, "Oh, this is where such and such is."
So what happened, Solayman? You tell me.
We were in Safar's Baba's cars, and in front of, they were taking me to my house.
Yes.
And in front, Mariam's sister was driving, Safar Baba with the left, and then behind. And they said, "Oh, here is near Sabri's house." And they said
Did they say Sabri?
Ricardo, they said.
Okay, so that was his name at that time.
And I hear, immediately I hear that noise. Well, came our friendship very strong.
So you said, "This is my friend."
I said, "Ricardo Catepon, this is the."
Okay. So you still remember from the old days when you went to his house?
Yes, definitely. But we have not seen each other since maybe 15 years, 20 years.
And obviously by that time he didn't know that you are a Muslim.
No, definitely not. And that doesn't know about anything about his life.
Okay,
I didn't know anything.
Yeah, so you became a Muslim after that.
Yeah, they sent me a book of hadith.
Which book?
The Garden of the Righteous.
Okay.
And I started reading, and I was like, "What is this?" It was very, very like shocking.
Okay.
And then I started asking via email, what's going on here?
Okay.
And sending question marks.
Okay, to whom? To Jamal.
And then I started feeling like my head was turning.
Was whirling.
Whirling, seriously. Honestly.
Since you guys have the whirling dervishes, so your head was whirling.
My head was spinning, my whole world was turning upside down.
Okay.
It was Ramadan when we passed through the.
Yes, it was Ramadan.
His father's house.
Okay, so let me ask Jamal. Up to this moment, we haven't talked about Jamal accepting Islam. Jamal you knew that this is the truth, Your brother has been introducing books to you, has been introducing the path to you, but you told me that it took you about 9 months.
More than I think 2 years passed. After
2
that.
years.
Yes.
So when did you accept Islam?
It was a kind of very interesting situation because, as Sabri told you, we used to make a kind of fasting.
Yes.
So with a friend of mine that now he also is a Muslim, our brother Ahmed,
Yes.
we decided to make a fast.
Yes, you and Ahmed.
And I suggested him, okay, I suggested, do you want to fast with me? Okay, let's fast. And he left the fast, I think in the second week, I continued to the third week.
Yeah.
And in that...
And in this fast, you will only drink water.
No, this was a different kind that I was used to drink, like eat a bowl of vegetables in midday and maybe 1 orange in the night, something like that. Very few,
Very little fast.
Very little fast. So in this period of time afterwards, I realized that in the moment that I was fasting, it was exactly the moment of Ramadan, and,
Okay.
I didn't knew that.
And were you fasting at that time?
Yes, of course.
As Ramadan?
As Ramadan, yes.
Okay.
But Safer didn't tell.
Didn't tell you?
No, he didn't tell anything about the practice. He just suggested with books or something very small. He didn't say I'm fasting now or nothing like that.
And you told me that during that period you went to sleep.
Yes, during that period, as I told you, I had several dreams of my father. Like he didn't
Yes,
talk
what
with
was
me.
he telling you?
He didn't talk in the dreams. He didn't talk with me, but he was just showing like an angry face with me. He was very severe.
Okay, so he was not pleased with you.
He was not pleased at all with me. And in one of these dreams, I talked with him, and he never talked with me. And he said like, come. And he opened a door, and it was Safer there, and he was in our sittings position as Muslims.
Of tashahhud.
Exactly.
Or let's say of dhikr.
Of dhikr.
Yes.
Of dhikr, yes. And then he was like reciting something, and he was like a lamp, and with his breath he holds like a light, a candle.
Yes.
But
with his words.
His words were maintaining the fire of that light. And my father speak with him in Arabic.
Okay.
I remember that.
And Safer, you never spoke Arabic at that time.
And Safer, and my father's point Safer, like showing me this is.
So did Safer reply in Arabic in the dream?
And in the dream he replied in Arabic, correcting my father the pronunciation of the Arabic. That was one of.
That's when a son precedes the father.
Subhanallah. And in the same, it was a very special fasting because I have 2 more dreams. In the second dream, 1 year before, Safer took me to meet our Shaykh Orhan Baba, Orhan Effendi, that he came from US and spent some weeks here and make some conferences introducing people to Islam, to Tasawwuf, and I get to meet him and talk and have some words with him.
And that's it?
And that's it, nothing else.
So you saw in the dream?
And the second dream, I was like we are sitting with the table in the middle, and there were 2 glasses with wine.
Yes.
And I see Orhan Baba, Sheikh Orhan Baba, and I told him, but it's not, I used to drink alcohol, and it was a big issue for me leaving the alcohol. I question why.
So was you a heavy drinker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I saw.
Now you are a heavy drinker of coffee, by the way.
Yes. Yes, I remember the light the nur in the face of our Sheikh. I asked him, "It's not in your path. Is the wine is not allowed?"
Yes.
And he just saw me and smiled with a beautiful face. And before touching the cup, it became white, and he drank it. And it was
became like milk.
Yes, and I have another glass beside me, and before I touched it, it became like white, and it was milk. And I remember drinking it and drinking everything up to the last drop.
The last drop.
Yes, and it was like milk with honey.
So this is the fitrah, as the Prophet ﷺ said in Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, when he was given the option to choose between wine and milk, and he chose milk, and he said, This is the fitra, this is the ummah. Yes, you told me about a very striking and very moving dream.
In the
When we were in Uruguay.
It wasn't in Uruguay.
You told me when we were in Uruguay.
When we were, yes, Sheikh. It was in this same period of time. I continued with the fast, with this fasting, and it was, as I told you, it was amazingly afterwards I realized it was in Ramadan, and I had a dream in the morning that was a totally change in myself.
Yes.
It was a very short dream, but I basically saw a person dressed with a black jubba, with a taj, with a turban, black also, and in the back of him was a lot of people dressed with white clothes and white turbans, a lot. And I just was there,
And how did he look?
He looked like 50 years old. He had like beard.
Thin or thick?
It wasn't large, but it was thick. I mean, it was not. You cannot see the skin, you know.
Okay.
And
how did his
it was
face
the
look?
most powerful and majestic presence that I never felt or see, because it was a feeling more than a thing. It's not an image thing.
And this person, what did he do to you?
It was no words in this, not talking in the dream, and he began to come closer to me, up to I see his face like overwhelming me, and I saw his eyes like so close to me, and they were like in an orange color, and I just wake up totally shocked, and my chest was burning physically, I wasn't on fire, my chest, and after that I could not like eat. I was like totally changed.
For how long?
For 3 days and 3 nights I didn't feel, it was like, I cannot describe the state, but basically it was something new for me.
And you accepted Islam after that?
After this, my beloved brother told me, okay, Orhan Baba was coming 2 weeks after that or something like that, and he told me, I talked this dream to the Sheikh, and after that I embraced Islam and embraced Dalika in the same with our Sheikh.
Now this is the story of your coming to Islam. هذه إخوتي قصة دخول هؤلاء الإخوة في الإسلام، فيها عجائب وفيها غرائب وفيها كثير من ملاطفات الله تبارك وتعالى، وفيها كثير من الأسرار والأنوار والبركات الظاهرة والباطنة من هذا الرجل الصالح الذي كان ظاهرا ليس على دين الإسلام. وهؤلاء الأبناء الذين نشأوا في بلاد بعيدة عن بلاد العرب، بلاد أتى إليها كثير من العرب ثم اندثر وجودهم بسبب اختلاطهم بالناس وعدم عنايتهم بدينهم، ويعني محصورين في داخل جالياتهم. أخرج الله عز وجل هذه النبتة كما يقول ربنا سبحانه وتعالى: أولم يروا أنا نسوق الماء إلى الأرض الجرز فنخرج به زرعا تأكل منه أنعامهم وأنفسهم. فالله عز وجل أنبت هذه الزهرة، هذه الشجرة الطيبة في مكان لا يتوقع الإنسان أبدا أن يظهر فيه شيء من هذا، ليتم الله عز وجل نوره وينشر خيره ويرينا سبحانه وتعالى من عجائب قدرته. أريد أسأل الإخوة الآن: ما الذي جذبهم للإسلام وما الذي يعنيه الإسلام لهم وماذا يفعلون بعد أن صاروا مسلمين؟ So tell me Safar, what does Islam mean to you?
Islam means to me a way of life.
A way of life internally and externally.
In every sense is to live in peace and understand your destiny and your work in this world.
And Sabri,
Yes.
what does Islam mean to you?
Acceptance and cleanliness.
And Solayman.
Transformation, deeply transformation.
And Jemal.
Islam for me is nur, is light, and being close. Try to be each second in the presence of Allah.
Now being Muslims, Safar, who came to the Zawiya or to the Dargah many years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed him in a position that he's now looking after the people here. Sayyidi Solayman is looking after the people in Salta. Everyone has his role to play. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you poles in these places where people gather around you, where people know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is delivered through you. What do you do as a Muslim, as a murid of the Khalwati Tariqa? Besides reading your morning awrad and evening awrad and reading your dhikr bil ism, the dhikr with the name, what do you do every week?
Regarding
yes, as a group, as Jarrahs.
As a group, we
I know that you have a zawiyah, you have a dargah in Salta, Masjid al-Ihsan, isn't it? Masjid al-Ihsan in Salta, and how many people do you have there?
2 families.
Two families, so about 10 people. How many of them have accepted Islam through you?
Most of them.
MashaAllah.
Maybe not, yes, definitely all of them.
You will lead these people in Yawm
We are
al-Qiyamah,
serving them and all the people to know it's quite different Salta from Buenos Aires.
Yes, so you gather them around you pretty much every day.
1-2 days a week. At
Okay.
least.
And what do you do with them? You teach them?
We teach brief things of Islam slowly, how to pray, how to fast. We make little dhikr and we make Jummah prayer.
It's
Fridays.
Increasing, isn't it?
Inshallah. slowly.
Inshallah ta'ala. Now coming to the den of the lion here in this blessed place that I have the honor of being here, teaching these brothers, spending time with them, sharing feelings and presence and goodness in general with them. What do you do every Thursday? I know that
we have a gathering every Thursday. Besides, and we do our besides eating together, having praying together, learning and having our word reading together and our hadra. Also, we are gathering on Wednesdays to have lessons on how to read Quran or different.
So who's teaching you Arabic here? Jamal, I heard that you're
Yes.
teaching them Arabic.
Yes.
So you are the Arabic teacher.
We are both Sefer Baba and myself. We are teaching. We have some amount. We studied for a time, and we are like transpassing this knowledge to our brothers. And Alhamdulillah, we are increasing knowledge. Thank you.
Now we're coming to this. So you gather every Thursday for the dhikr and for the hadra, and brothers and sisters, they eat, they meet, their families come together, come close. There are people who are have non-Muslim wives. There are people who have non-Muslim children, and yet the people are not leaving their families. They are integrating more into their families, isn't it?
Yes.
And their families are becoming respectful of Islam.
Yes, they are coming respectful of Islam. They are starting to know about Islam, to respect, and they can have the understanding that Islam is not a religion of hate and hatred and anger and fanatics, and they can start to see that that Islam is a religion of peace, of virtuous people, that the only thing that they want is
The pleasure of Allah.
The pleasure of Allah.
Now Sabri, as an example, and allow me to jump into this private part of your life. As far as I'm aware, your missus is not a Muslim. However, she helps you and the children of becoming committed Muslims.
Yes, she's a Christian.
Yes.
And a believer. She's always been a believer in God. She doesn't get focused on the Trinity or any of those things. She's just a believer in God.
Yes.
And she
And you have 3
respects-
boys.
We have 3 children, alhamdulillah, 3 boys. And she respects the religion very much. She even likes many aspects of it, but she has a problem with the discipline and the hours and the prayers and all these things. But she actually helps me, because I've explained to her the importance of it, to tell the children, hey, it's time to pray, go with your dad.
So she does that.
She does,
And-
not
and-
regularly, but she tries to do it.
And out of your love for your teacher, Mehran Effendi, you named 2 of your children after Jorge.
Miguel and Jorge.
Yes. So, but tell me, why did you start with Miguel?
because that was the name that he, Mihran Effendi Rahmatullahi, got here as a Latin name, as an Argentine name. His name Mihran was transformed to Miguel for ease of talking with people.
Okay, so you actually named
I named him after him.
after him. Okay, and then Jorge.
Yes.
And there was no need to name the third child Miguel again after
No, the third was a problem because my wife said, you already named two, now I get to name it. I'm like, no, I'm a Muslim now, I need to put the name. So we had to negotiate. So she ended up putting her grandparents.
I suppose that these negotiations were quite difficult.
Very difficult.
Yes, you
We
never
still
negotiate
call-
with a wife.
We still, to this day, she calls him Pedro and I call him Ali, and sometimes we call him Pedro Ali.
Is that the peacetime and the wartime? At the wartime, she
When I
calls-
hear that she calls him Pedro 4 times in a row, I know something's going on.
Okay, so that child is actually not just a child; he's an indicator
Yes.
of the state of peace and the state of war in the house. Brilliant. So you run classes in this zawiya. You have about 30
Yes, about 30
brothers and sisters. We have Usman, his wife. We have Hamza, his father Abdul Wadud. We have Ahmad and his family. His wife as well is not a Muslim, but she's very helpful. I actually had some delicious food in their house, halal food, alhamdulillah, last month. And now this is my part. I came to know these brothers in one of my visits to Canada, and I'm going to shift to Arabic now. تعرفت على هؤلاء الإخوة في إحدى زياراتي إلى مدينة تورونتو في كندا. دعانا أحد إخواننا من الدعاة والمدرسين، أخونا الشيخ فراز رباني جزاه الله خير، إلى اللقاء السنوي عندهم، مخيم سنوي. فدعاني في 2014 لإلقاء عدد من المحاضرات حول الحكم العطائية، والتقيت عدد كبير من الإخوة، ثم تعرفت على هذين الأخوين اللذان حضرا إلى المخيم للمشاركة فيه والتعلم، ودعواني أنا وزوجتي إلى الأرجنتين. فقبلت الدعوة، وما كان في ذهني أنني سآتي إلى الأرجنتين. تأتي للإنسان دعوات كثيرة لكن ويستجيب، لا أرد دعوات، لكن ما يخرج منها إلى التحقيق أو ما لا يخرج إلى التحقيق كله بأمر الله تبارك وتعالى. فحصل أن هذين الأخوين، هذا كان في شهر سبتمبر، ثم أتت الدعوة والترتيب للحضور إلى شهر ديسمبر. حضرنا مخيم آخر هنا في بوينس آيرس، ثم أتى الأخوين إلى لندن لزيارتي وتعلم بعض الأشياء. حضروا عندي في البيت، قرأنا سويا كتاب رسالة أيها الولد للإمام الغزالي، ثم يعني أبدأ رغبة في إيجاد نوع من التعليم المستمر لهذه المجموعة الطيبة. فعرضت عليهم فكرة برنامج الحسنى، البرنامج الدعوي، هذه الدبلومة في الدراسات الإسلامية التي بفضل الله تعالى قائمة في برمنغهام، قائمة في لندن، قائمة في سنغافورة، قائمة في عدد من البلدان الآن. ولنا حديث حول هذه الدبلومة إن شاء الله تعالى. دبلومة جيدة تعين المسلمين في الغرب على التعرف على أصول دينهم والتواصل مع التراث بما يناسب عصرهم ومصرهم كما علمنا مشايخنا. فقبل الإخوة هذه الرغبة ورغبوا فيها، ورتبنا عدد من الزيارات، وهذه زيارتي الثالثة لتدريس برنامج الحسنى. نأتي مرة كل شهرين، نبقى هنا حوالي 10 أيام ندرس فيها بصفة أسبوعية في السبت والأحد من الصباح إلى المساء. عدد الساعات الدراسية 25 ساعة، ندرسها على مدى 8 زيارات بفضل الله. عندنا فاصل فيه 20 طالب، والإخوة قد قاموا بترجمة المادة العلمية لهذه الدبلومة إلى اللغة الإسبانية، ويقومون بالترجمة المباشرة. وبعد أن أذهب يجتمعون مع الإخوة هنا جميعا ويراجعون ما درسوا، حتى لا تأتي الزيارة التي تليها إلا وقد تأكدوا وقد أكدوا على ما وراجعوا ما أخذوه من الدروس. Tell me, Safar, the Husna classes that we have now, we are in the third, let's say the third quarter of Al-Husnah, and we're about to finish it, inshallah ta'ala. Husna 1 is coming to an end in February, inshallah. We'll have the graduation in May, and we will be starting Al-Husnah 2 as well. tell me in full honesty, what has attracted you to Al-Husnah?
I was attracted because it's not, the word is not a summary, but how I can say it, it's like the curricula of Al-Husnah is it's you can have a vast approach about all that we need for travel in the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have a Aqidah that it helped to us to have a good understanding about what is the meaning of God and all of about this. Also we have the class of fiqh that is very useful to have
Hanafi fiqh.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
And we have the classes of course of Sira, Tasawwuf, and so and so. And it's a complete and curriculum, and the people will get a full and complete understanding about Islam, the different views, the misunderstanding in the Western society about Islam, about the history of Islam, the context about all of this, and also the misunderstanding that it is happening in the Islamic world about these new tendencies that we are facing in these 50 years from until now.
Jamal, what is the most attractive module of Al-Husnah? We have 7 modules. We have fiqh, we have aqidah, we have tasawwuf, we have seerah, we have da'wah, we have hadith, and we have tafsir. What is the closest to your heart?
I cannot select only one because I have 3 that they are very, very helpful, particularly for me. That the one of fiqh, that is like pure light and is clarifying a lot of details that we need to be clarified. Mm-hmm. The tasawwuf, of course, it's like the spirituality of our path, and also the dawah module is really, really very helpful to teaching us the way and to teaching us the responsibility that we have being in a country that there are very few Muslims, and the understanding of the Islam is not even held by anybody to give this message, to understand that responsibility that we have.
Solayman, tell me, Islam has come to this land about 100-something years ago or more. Lebanese, Syrians have come here, but what has happened is Islam has become very weak in Argentina as contrast to Brazil, for example. Islam in Brazil is more is stronger, is more well established. Tell me about that. How Arabs who have brought Islam to this land have themselves melted in the society? What do you think? What happened to them?
I don't know, maybe there are many things, but they said, for example, that when the Arabics came to Argentina, maybe in the first years of the last century,
Yes.
19th century,
Yes.
exactly, was the falling of the Ottoman Empire.
Yes.
They had many problems, They had to establish their lives, so they cannot think properly about religion. You have to
they
they
didn't
have to
bring-
work. They have to feed their families.
Yeah. So religion was
maybe
not
one of the reasons was that.
So religion or spreading religion or talking about religion was not a priority.
It's not. I know by myself because my grandfather came from Lubnan. And
Yes.
And all these Arabs, most of them, they send them to the north of the country.
Yes.
Because the weather is very similar
To the Arab.
to this part of the world.
So tell me, do you think that look like basically living and encircling themselves with only the Arabs has made them clusterize and separate themselves from the society as well?
I think no.
Did they
We
focus?
don't have information about that. They have information that they have to work a lot
Yeah.
to insert in the society, live their lives, prepare their families. So
Did they bring any scholars with them?
No, they don't have.
So that's
We don't have
any
information.
proper
Yes.
scholarship. So that's possibly one of the reasons. ربما هذا أحبتي أحد الأسباب أن العرب حينما أتوا إلى هذه البلاد ما اعتنوا بإحضار علماء ولا اعتنوا بالتخطيط للأجيال القادمة ماذا ستفعل في أمر دينها، فكان التركيز على كسب العيش، الاختلاط بالسكان وكذا، فذابت هويتهم مع الأيام. We have spoken to Safar about Al-Husnah, Jemal, and I would like to ask Sabri. You were in the US and you came and you decided to come back to Argentina and settle here with your family, and you have had some experience with Al-Husnah. So what do you think about it?
Oh, it's great. I am very happy with it. It's so exciting. I'm kind of very sad that it's only going to last 2 more days, that this is not going to go on.
It will go on, inshallah.
Yeah, but you're leaving. So, but anyways,
but as long as I'm not dying, I should be fine.
Well, I would like to go every day.
Unless you predict that I am. Yes, and then you say, Ahmed Effendi, Rahmatullah alayhi. Let's broadcast this program first and then do anything you can.
I mean that, you would like to go to school regularly.
Okay.
That's what I mean. That's
Yes.
what I meant.
So-
But anyways, that's apart.
So what is the most what's the most touching experience?
They're all great. The nice thing about it is that you keep changing, so you don't get stuck or bored with the subject. Because as soon as your attention is about to drop, you take a 5-minute break and you go to something else.
Yeah, and
It's
then
very
the Sheikh
exciting.
sends you to wash your face as well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like he said, Hanafi fiqh is very important because it gives us the details of things that we must know. And then very important also to learn how to talk to people, because we live in this country where, like we have all been saying, there are no Muslims. Even our families don't even know. They read the paper, they watch the TV. So it's important to convey that message in a proper way, not just to come and say, I've read in a book by this sheikh, that da 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 da. You have to know how to say it to people so that they understand it properly.
So Safar, tell me, what are the challenges that you think are the biggest challenges that face Muslims, you as Muslims in this country? And how do you see the way forward?
Yes, first of all, the biggest challenges that we as, for example, let's talk as particular and then as general, as a group we need a complete formation in what we can say the basics and a little more to have a full understanding about all the aspects about Islam. And after we get that knowledge, it will be more easy to insert and talk with different group of society. So, for example, if someone, for our brother, if someone asks about why your prophet married with a girl of 9 years old.
And we talked about this.
And we talked about this. We had the answers for that, and it's not a simplistic answer, and a full and deep answer. Also, it's good for the people that had some issues or doubts about all these things that are constantly repeated in not only in the medias, by Orientalists in books that generate doubts about these issues and other. Also, it gives us a full panorama about the Islam as religion, because as you know, it's a problem
in the world.
In the world,
Yes.
I'm not saying Islam, in the world, about the different tendencies between Islam and the fanaticisms and also
rigid understanding of Islam.
Rigid understanding of Islam, and the brothers that maybe they are going to a masjid and are facing problems about about this understanding about anti-madhab, anti-Sufism, this and that. So that is one aspect of answering your
So
question.
can we say that one of the biggest challenges that face Muslims in this country is education, educating them about their faith?
Of course, is the biggest challenge that we face.
Empowering them, strengthening them, educating them about their faith, so that when they speak with confidence.
Of course, and they speak, and also they get that confidence about all of this, because if you are constantly under attack of different parts of
That weakens you.
That weakens you in, for example, you turn on the television and you see something, you go from that masjid, you have another view, you go there, and you get confused, and it's happened a lot. And also, it strengthens you in a great way to get enough power to face your day-to-day aspect of the deen. How to do this, how to do that. This is halal, this is haram, but not. I mean, because most of them know the basics, but the subtle things of our religion.
Finally, I would like to thank you all for being here and for taking the trouble of doing this interview and recording your experience with da'wah. And I would like in one sentence to ask each and every one of you to just summarize to me in one sentence, how does he feel? What does his experience of finding this path in the middle of nowhere, how does he feel about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how, if he wants to summarize this experience in one sentence, what would you say? Sabri.
It's the most beautiful thing one can ever, you can't even expect something so beautiful to happen to you.
Safa.
Is that finally you are in the way to our Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Solayman.
Allah grant us to understand our role in this life, preparing to the Akhirah.
And Jamal.
I don't have words.
No words, they say silence sometimes is the best answer. بارك الله فيكم. كنا معكم مع هؤلاء الإخوة الأفاضل من الأرجنتين في مشاهداتنا في طريق الدعوة إلى الله تبارك وتعالى من هذه البقعة التي تحتاج إلى دعم، تحتاج إلى دعاء، تحتاج إلى استكشاف، تحتاج إلى جهود كثيرين من إخواننا الدعاة الذين يأتون إلى هنا بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة والعلم والهدي والمسلك النبوي والميراث النبوي السليم، الذي يستطيعون من خلاله مع الإخلاص والنية والهمة أن يوصلوا نور الله تبارك وتعالى الذي أذن بإبرازه سبحانه وتعالى في هذه الأصقاع، يتم هذا ويعين فيه ويشارك في الأجر. نسأل الله لنا ولكم تمام القبول والصحة والعافية، ونلتقي بكم إن شاء الله تبارك وتعالى في مشاهدات جديدة في حقل الدعوة إلى الله. كنت معكم مع هؤلاء الإخوة، سلام الله عليكم ورحمته وبركاته.